What's up, friends, and welcome back to the Hello Sister podcast. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Olivia, and everybody calls us Liz and Liv.
Yeah. So we're so excited to be here today, and before we kick things off, we want to start off with a game of Who's More Likely? So let's get started.
And also, I just want to kind of let everybody in on the situation. Me and Elizabeth are best friends, and everybody, including ourselves, are very excited to be on the podcast together today. And we decided to we kind of know the questions we want to answer, but we're just going to have fun and see where it takes us.
Yeah. We won't go rogue, but
we might go a little rogue, but I think that's okay. And so we have our friend Beth, and she's going to read us the questions, and we're just going to say who's most likely to do these things.
Yeah.
I think it will be fun.
I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Okay, who's most likely to sing the lyrics wrong to a song?
Olivia.
That one is me.
Absolutely, Olivia. Every single song.
It's my biggest flaw. I hate it. I love the way that it feels to sing a song and know the lyrics. It feels so good and satisfying.
Could not sing
I can't.
the national anthem.
Ask me to sing the national anthem, I will forget the words. It could be my favorite song. I've listened to it 100 times a day, and I don't know the chorus, and I just don't know why it doesn't click in my head. But I will say I am most likely to forget the
very
lyrics to
much
a
so.
song.
Yesterday, we were in the office and listened to a song together, and when I tell you it had repeated the same thing probably 15 times, and then I started singing along the one line that it was repeating, and Olivia looked at me and said, "How do you already know the lyrics?"
It was actually a upcoming LO worship song that they're writing.
Right.
And we had listened to it one time, and she was already singing along the second time.
But it repeated 15 times, and she was so baffled by that. And that sums up that question. So next.
Who's more likely to become a politician?
That one is Elizabeth for sure. Because she knows every single person in the tri-state area, and everybody knows Elizabeth. She's our community coordinator. And you could mention somebody, a friend of a friend, and she'd be like, "Wait, what's her last name? Oh yeah, they were my neighbor." Everybody knows Elizabeth, and I feel like if she ran for mayor, she would win.
Yeah, I appreciate that compliment. But that's I feel like what you get when you live in a small town where everyone knows everybody.
Homecoming Queen 2018.
Wow, honored. Thank you. But yeah, that I will own that one because it probably would be me.
All right, who's more likely to forget their house keys?
Oh, Olivia.
Wow, that one's targeted straight to me.
Olivia forgets her house keys more than anyone I've ever met.
It's not that I forget my house keys, it's that I lock myself out of my house. And I did it even yesterday. I went to lunch at work. I thought my car keys were in my car. Locked the knob. Nope. And I was stuck outside in the heat.
The amount of times that happens, though, I think it's happened probably 5 times over the past 2 weeks.
We've had to pay a locksmith twice to come lock us out of the house.
And every time I'm like, you should put a spare key outside of your house.
I finally did it. I kept one in my car.
Oh, this is mine.
I've also gone through the windows a lot. Monumental.
Yeah.
Monumental. That's a good word, Liz.
She has gone through her windows before, actually. That was
anyway. Yep, that one's me.
Okay, who's most likely to forget to mute themselves or their microphone in a Zoom meeting?
Wow, these are back and forth, but that is definitely
okay.
Share the story.
I gotta own this. Liz. I'll give y'all a brief synopsis of what happened. Basically, in college, honestly, some of my classmates might be listening because it was that big of a class.
Yes, it was during kind of the COVID era.
Around COVID, yeah, we were on Zoom. All the classes were on Zoom, and I was getting ready in my bathroom, doing all the things, and really wasn't paying attention to what was happening in class on Zoom, but I was trying to get my attendance grade. And so I thought that we were in breakout sessions. I thought that we were like in our own groups, and because no one was saying anything and the teacher wasn't there, and that's what happened. Yeah, I was not paying attention whatsoever. And I'm not kidding. There's probably like 150 people in this class. And I unmuted myself because I saw a mutual friend on the screen, and I could only see 4 people. I was like, oh, we must be in a breakout group. Started talking to her directly. Have never talked to her in my life.
She's like, hey, girl.
Hey, girl. I was like, oh my gosh, are you so-and-so's sister-in-law? Because that is my roommate, and like started doing this whole thing. And she was also like pretty shy at the time. So I feel so bad now that happened.
She's like, it's so good to meet you.
And then the teacher, like, I'm not here. I probably talked to this girl for like 3 or 4 minutes.
This girl.
And then the teacher pops back into the screen and it's like, I'm so sorry, y'all. My connection was lost. And in that moment, I'm pretty sure I turned my whole...
You had a conversation.
I just quit the Zoom for the day.
You had a conversation
that
with
was
her.
Not my proudest
moment.
Wasn't
it about like her ex-boyfriend or something?
No, I'm not kidding. It was like pretty personal. And now that I know, like...
And the funny thing is that you genuinely didn't think anything of it, but I had spent the night with her. And so I was still like half asleep in the bed. And afterward, I was like, Elizabeth, did you just like have that conversation in front of everybody? And then that's, I think, when it sunk in.
I think whenever I thought about how many people were just
I was like, oh my gosh.
and then literally the next day, someone came up to Olivia in class and said, oh my gosh, are you friends with that girl who spoke in front of the whole Zoom class?
Like in one of my random classes.
So I was famous, I mean, I guess, on the local college campus.
You would be most likely to
Definitely me, yeah.
And it's proven.
Okay, last one. Who is more likely to leave Christmas lights up all year round?
Oh, wait. This is tough.
I know this one. And I know exactly what you're thinking. The dilemma that you're in your head.
I know.
Okay, you can go.
I'll tell my dilemma. Mm-hmm. So on mine and Olivia's desk, they're right beside each other. And I love that in our office. And we actually have had Christmas lights hanging on the 2 of our desks. They're connected, like the string of lights, for probably 2 years now.
Probably so.
But we don't want to take them down because they're so fun. We plug them
they're
in
very cozy.
Every day. And they just make it feel more homey.
Yeah, it's true. But to answer the question, I would say, realistically, you would keep the Christmas lights up year round because, the other day it started to bother me. I was like, these are Christmas lights. And
I don't even see them like that, though.
And I want like cutesy lights, like it bothered me that they were Christmas and it wasn't Christmas.
You know why it bothered her? I'll say it didn't even bother her until one of our other friends started working at Live Original. And she put her lights up, and her lights are cuter than ours. And then Olivia
right next to us
started getting jealous because our lights are Christmas lights and theirs are cuter.
But I will say, I do love Christmas. It's my favorite thing in the world.
Spirit of Christmas.
Spirit of Christmas. I love it. So it could go either way. That was a fun game. I like that.
That was a good game. I feel like that, yeah.
That was a good icebreaker.
That was really good.
We didn't go too rogue.
No, not too rogue. But, okay, so now as we transition into some questions that we want to answer for you guys and things that have just been really relevant in our lives lately and just around the office, I want to kick us off with a couple questions for each other. So I want us to each say something that we've learned through our friendship with the other person. So I will start off by saying that you have taught me patience. And I know that it comes across with a negative connotation. I understand.
I think I get it. So I taught you patience.
Learning patience from someone can be a negative thing. People always say, oh, don't pray for patience. But I mean, I say pray for patience because what God puts in your path it really will build your patience. And so Olivia, I've always said when I became friends with Olivia, she taught me patience in the way that she really is. She lives out this verse in the Bible so well when we're told to be slow to speak, slow to anger, and quick to listen. And Olivia lives that out so well. And I feel like I have learned that because she's so patient with people. She is so slow to get angry. I'm pretty sure I've never seen Olivia get like mad at somebody before. And she's just so patient with people. And I feel like I have become much more like that because before I feel like I was just so
not patient.
My patience level was much lower than it is now. And I feel like I was much more high maintenance. And Olivia has taught me to live much more just free and patient with people and patient with myself. And I love that about you.
That is so sweet. And
what have you learned from me?
Appreciate that. So I have thought long and hard about, I'm just kidding, but I have given some thought to this. And I think the biggest thing that you've taught me is just like how to be more confrontational in a loving way. Aww. And being very black and white. Like let your yes be yes and your no be a no. Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of times before I will say, I'll like kind of be a people pleaser. And, you know, I'll say something that will kind of make everybody happy and kind of be true in two ways.
Keep the peace.
All like, yes, keep the peace. Or I'll agree to something if somebody will ask me to be somewhere, or if I want to do something or help, I'll just be like, maybe I think I can. I know I'm like, that's something that I shouldn't do, but I'll kind of leave it open-ended because I feel like I need to say, yeah, like maybe we'll see. I'll let you know. And I just feel like you teaching me to be more black and white. Your yes be yes and your no be no.
Yeah.
That is how it should be.
That's so sweet.
And I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned from you.
Wow.
I respect it about you. You say what needs to be said, but you do it out of love.
Wow. Thank you. That is such a sweet compliment.
Okay. So now we wanted to each kind of answer one of the most asked questions that we've noticed just through DMs and just people in our life that we feel like we could kind of speak into just from our life experiences. And so I thought that I would ask you to share a little bit about what your journey with working in ministry kind of looked like. Because I know it was quite the journey for you.
Yes. 5 majors later in college.
5
no
majors.
Joke. Actually, I did. I was in 5 majors.
But she graduated in 4 years.
Graduated in 4 years. That's my biggest flex in life. I always say that.
Started as a nurse.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. But I would say, so when I went into college, I had completely different plans for myself than where I am now. And like you just joked about me being in nursing school, but literally started nursing school, literally went through 3 other majors and just knew that was not it. And at that point, I had this major encounter with the Lord that I had never had before, and it completely changed my life. And after that moment, I remember one day I woke up and it wasn't an audible voice, but it was like the Lord was just speaking so clearly to me. And there were a lot of things in my life that needed to change at this point, but it was like he was so clearly saying, if you would just do what I'm asking you to do, I would have so much waiting for you. And that moment literally changed my life forever, even if that sounds dramatic. It really did. Yeah. And after that, I knew that I loved to write, and I knew that I loved the Lord. And I switched my major to journalism. Didn't know what would happen, anything after that, but it was just taking the next step. Yep. And after that, the Lord just began to open up door after door. And I was just so grateful. And I just would have never expected. One day, my mom was sitting with me in the kitchen, and she was like, you know, you love to write and you love the Lord. So like, what if you wrote in ministry? And I remember thinking that was such a bizarre idea. I was like, Mom, what in the world would I write in ministry? And not even 2 months later, God opened up the doors for now Live Original, which is where we work. But it opened up the doors in ministry for specifically a writing position. And it was kind of one of those moments where I was like, okay, God, like I see you in this. And you're like, just never write off God and never think that there's something he can't do or a door he can't open. And I ended up accepting that job. And think like now, looking back to where God said, if you just do what I'm asking you to do, I'd have so much waiting for you. I am like, wow, it's crazy to see all the in-between things and like where I'm at now and all the things he was talking about and all the things that are to come. But all that started from just taking the next step. And I feel like that's the most important thing.
When you, like, even though you don't know where you're going, you always were looking for that next step to take out of obedience. And I think that that's really the only thing you can do.
Right. And
because if you have something in your mind where you think God is leading you, he may be leading you there, but then there's so many things that you could be missing if you're too focused 100%. On that.
And also, I would encourage you on a journey like that, like on your walk with the Lord, take out your journal and just start writing things down, every little thing, even if it doesn't seem significant, because I have found that it's so cool to look back on those notes now and see, wow, God was piecing this together all along. So definitely document all the things that's going on because you'll be so surprised to see what God has done.
Yep. It's always so cool to look back and be like, oh, that makes sense now.
Yeah,
and where I am.
Also, I want to say that ministry is anywhere that you're working. It's not just in in a church or somewhere like
you don't have
original.
To speak.
No, you don't have to have some big platform. You can live.
Yes, do ministry.
Just the average life, and that is so meaningful to God as long as you're living for Him.
That's true. That is good. And I never had in my head that I would be in ministry. I was in business school. I sat down to sign up for classes in college, and I said, I don't really know what I want to do. Business is pretty general. I guess I'll do business. And then I was like, marketing? That's pretty general. I'll do that 4 years later. And I genuinely would have never thought that I would be working in ministry. But it's a very cool thing that God kind of like laid that out in front of me. True. And I knew that I was exactly where I was meant to be. Yeah. So it's really just taking that next step and being obedient, even though you don't see the full picture.
This is a question that we also get asked a lot through DMs or whatever it may be. I want you to talk a little bit about what your dating life was like, and also how you truly embraced the season of singleness with the Lord and with your friends, and you lived fully in each season.
Yes. I do love that question because that was a big part of my journey and testimony kind of. And now I am married. I forgot to wear my wedding ring. So for all the people watching, I am married. I just forgot my ring. Anyway, so now to be like kind of on the other side of the season of singleness, that's another thing that's cool to look back at. But I married my first boyfriend. I had never dated anybody. Mm-hmm. I was 23, 22 years old and had never been in a serious relationship. And, there'd be seasons where all my friends, they were in relationships, but I just never really, I was never in one, It never really made sense to me. There was never anybody in my life that it would make sense to me. But at the same time, even though I would have seasons where I would get lonely or I'd be like, man, what's wrong with me? Like, why haven't I found my person yet? Like, most people have been in a few relationships, and so it can be easy to like get in your head and be like, okay, what's different with me? What's wrong? Like I would get in that sometimes when I let myself, but really, I have always been the type of person to fully be present and like try to see the good in every season that I'm in. Like high school, I was like, I do not want to leave high school. I love it. Yeah. And in college, I was like, okay, this is better. And I want to fully step into this season. Mm-hmm. And finding the good in the seasons I was in led to so much contentment. Mm-hmm. And I remember one day I was feeling like, man, why hasn't it happened yet? And starting to get worried. I was probably a junior and beginning of my junior year in college. And I was driving and I was just praying and I was like, okay, God, what's up? Like, I'm trusting you, but I'm starting to like kind of worry that what I desire to find a husband and somebody that I can love and marry, I started to get worried, maybe like, is that going to happen? Yeah. And I just remember I felt like this peace of God, like it was like he was letting me know he's coming. Like, and it was just like peace. That's really the only way I can describe it. And I knew like, okay, you've got it under control. It almost felt like I knew whoever my future husband was.
Yeah, that's
like
crazy.
In my heart kind of. And it was just like a very peaceful moment.
Of knowing that God had it.
Yes. And I just think about that now. Looking back, I see that if I would have met my husband, Zach, any earlier, I would not have the relationships with my friends that I have today. Yeah. And I wouldn't have really had the capacity in my head, I feel like, to really dive deep and get to know and experience like that deep friendship level with all of the friendship relationships I have, just like me and you. It was our sophomore year of college and we were both single. Yeah. And you would come and spend the night at my house every Wednesday night after church. And we would just like, it was just nobody else in our mind, just me and you, you know?
Yeah.
And we really got to know each other so well.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful for all the friendships that I have in my life. And I know that I'm very lucky and blessed in that way. And I truly don't think I would be the same person I am today if I didn't fully dive deep into all the beautiful friendships that I have.
So if you had to give one piece of advice for someone in their season of singleness right now, what would it be?
It would be, there's nothing wrong with you, first of all, because I would get caught up in that a lot and get in that like that lonely mindset of what's different with me. There's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect. And God created you exactly how you are. And he truly he has it under control. And there's really no need to worry and question things, because that's just going to bring so much anxiousness. And just I would say, one-liner, just take advantage of where you are and fully be present in the blessings that God has already given you.
That's good.
And just kind of like, I wouldn't even call it like a waiting season. I know people say like the season of singleness is like a waiting season, but there's so much more than just waiting on your husband.
Yeah.
And I love my husband, and I'm so grateful that I met the first guy I met that I was like, okay, I'll date you, is my husband. And I knew, like, I have never questioned or had any thoughts in the back of my head, like, is he the one? I never doubted any of that. And I'm very confident in it. But that is a beautiful relationship, but there's so much beauty along the way that you'll miss if you aren't content and fully step in and appreciate where you are.
That's so good. I love that. I love that you shared your perspective.
Wasn't quite a one-liner.
No, that was great. That was great. Well, I hope that this has been encouraging to the people listening. It really was so fun.
It feels like a sleepover, kind of.
It kind of does. Kind of has sleepover vibes to it.
I miss sleepovers.
I know. We're actually having 2 sleepovers next week.
Yes.
We haven't had a sleepover in forever, so I'm very excited for that. But would you mind praying us out?
Sure.
And encouraging the girls listening today?
Yeah. Lord, I thank you for today, God. I thank you for Elizabeth and the friendship that you've given me, Jesus. I thank you for us just being able to learn from each other and kind of just learn to trust you with each other, God, and to learn from experiences that we have gone through, God, in our different journeys, Lord. I thank you for this podcast, God, and for us being able to just have a conversation like we're at a sleepover with their sister and friends, God. And I pray that it encourages them and it brings them the peace and comfort that they need in knowing that you've got it under control, Lord. And I pray that everybody listening just is able to fully appreciate the beauty of the season that they are in, God, and to just give control to you and just take the next step, Lord, in obedience of what you are laying out for them, God. We thank you and we love you and we praise you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Oh, say, can you see? Okay, I'm not going to sing it. By the dawn's early light.
I want this part. Go ahead.
I know this part. Oh, say, can you see? So gladly we.
Wait, sing that again.
Gladly we hail by the twilight's last gleaming.